Hey, my name is Ralph. I'm with Flexfilm, and we've got the opportunity today to tint this little quarter window on this 1970 Ford 100. And this little quarter window is, to some folks, they say it's a little tricky. It is to me, but if you know the steps and focus on the prize, it's not that bad. Especially this one's not that bad because it doesn't really have any hardware that's necessary for us to remove. But this piece of glass, you know, it can come out. If we wanted to tint this glass out, that may be another video I want to make, but this customer's requested that we leave the glass in. So we're going to tint this glass right here where it is, and I'm going to show you the steps I'm going to take. So I'm going to talk about what we're going to do on the inside, because prep is the most important thing to prevent light gaps, trash, and we want to get the most perfect, cleanest cut we can get to make this job look the best we can. But on the outside, we got to figure out how we're going to craft the pattern that we're trying to make look so good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a pattern that we've saved from I think I actually pulled this one out of the trash can, and I'm going to use this to craft my pattern with, and I'm going to show you the steps to do it. First thing I'm going to need is my Tint tack slip solution, or just water, or whatever you need. I just want this to stick. Before I start trying to stick this, I'm going to use a Sharpie here to help me out, but you know, this is a silicone treated release liner. One side has silicone on it, and one side, okay, this side I can just wipe off. This side sticks. And I can't wipe it off, well I can, but it'll dry and I can't wipe it off. This is the side I want to mark on so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to take this clear. I'm just going to make sure I thoroughly cover the entire piece of glass. Probably going to take my Olfa blade here and trim off some of the excess so it doesn't get in my way, actually. Like this. Turn it at the right angle. Okay, now probably going to just randomly pick a hard card here. This is my smart card I'm going to use. I'm going to try to anchor this. Oops, that's not going to work. Okay, I'm going to try to anchor this down. I just don't want it to move. Once I get to the part where it doesn't move, is where I can start my Sharpie tracing process. Let's see here. I'm gonna just gently trace out the perimeter of this. I'm gonna go all the way around. Sometimes you can cut relief cuts if you feel like it's trying to fight you too much. This is just the Sharpie phase. I'm not really worried about it being perfect. I'm gonna be able to tell more what I need to see after I'm done with this and see what I'm actually cutting. But I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a minute. Okay. Now, I probably want to mark my edge, or I could take my Olfa knife and just trim that. Either way, might just take advantage of trimming actually I just want to trim part of it. I don't have to do the whole thing because I just want to establish a straight line that I can straighten up with a ruler later on. Now we'll go to the board and finish our cuts. Okay, in this step what we're going to do is take the pattern that I've just cut. I transferred it to my shop glass. I've got me a piece of Flex 20, and I'm going to use this pattern over this piece of film. This is the release liner facing me, and we're going to craft this pattern just by using rulers and freehand. So I'm going to take my pattern over to here, and I don't know how I can put it anywhere I want, I guess. Let's see here. All right, then I'm going to anchor my pattern. And now I'm going to use some freehand technique here and just cut it very carefully. The way we prep the inside of this, I'm always going to break my blade. The way we're going to prep the inside of this window is I'm going to show you how this is going to make it a really clean, no gap pattern. But I'm going to go on the outside of my black Sharpie line, right on the edge. I mean, no room for error here. Let me just take a little bit off so you can see for the camera what I'm doing. Maybe I'll start from this other angle here. Sometimes I put a little extra on the bottom because I can always trim the bottom a lot easier than I can some other places. We can tighten that up later, but I'm gonna do a test on my pattern, cutting it a little larger, because sometimes I'd rather cut it larger than smaller. I have to start over if it's too small, but if it's a little bit bigger, I can actually make fine-tune adjustments on the glass. That's what I'm gonna show you here in a minute. This is my straight edge. Then I'm gonna follow the straight edge that I've already made. Once I do this straight edge, things start making more sense. See there? Now, I don't know, I'm just gonna freehand that. We can fine tune the pattern here when I put it back on the truck here in a minute. But let's see how I'm gonna do this. Okay, just around the top. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, and I know this isn't perfect, but I'm gonna put the pattern back on the glass after I do some prepping, which I'll show you in a minute, and then we're gonna fine tune this pattern so that there's no light gaps and it fits perfect like we want it to. Okay, in this step, what we're gonna do is we're gonna prep the glass, and we're also gonna do some things that are gonna help us fit this pattern without any light gaps. So before I do any kind of prepping with any slip solutions or prep solutions or whatever you choose to prep with, I'm gonna look at this edge. See, we're leaving this glass in, and this has been in here probably since 1970. And there's a little piece of rubber here that's over the years, and probably even when it was new, is real wavy. And I don't really need that, because trying to put a piece of film up against that is gonna be near impossible without seeing a light gap and of course bringing trash in. So what I'm gonna do, and I'm not worried about, there's probably 1/4 of an inch of seal here or maybe more. I just wanna cut everything straight with this metal frame that it's in, and get rid of all the waviness and all the dry rot and things that are gonna bring trash into my installation. So I'm gonna take my Olfa knife, and I'm gonna angle my blade up in here just right. And I'm actually gonna cut this old rotten part of the seal out just to keep it straight. And it may take me 2 or 3 different steps. There's really not that much to cut out. Even some places there's nothing to cut out. But I can certainly, this is one of the secrets, I guess, to making this look really good, keeping the trash out. I'm telling you, whoever keeps this truck up does a good job, because everything's really clean already. See all that nasty, rotten, just little bitty stuff. It just gets in the way. This glass is still secure in there, no wind noise or anything. Okay. Let me probably spend more time in these corners. That's where you're gonna have the most challenge making there not be light gaps in this type of installation. So we're gonna really make sure we get all the stuff out that could cause the trash and make it look not pretty. Okay, that's all there is to it. You can't even tell I've done anything hardly, but it's gonna make a huge difference when we install the film. Now the next step I'm gonna do is the actual prep and the fitting of the pattern. Okay, and this step is where we do a quick prep. We're only gonna prep it one time, and then we'll do our final squeegee when we're ready to install the film. But this is our pre-tack, and all we're gonna do is just spray it on here. And sometimes we can use a white scrubby, or sometimes we can use our razor blade. Not sure which one I'm gonna do here. Whichever I find first. Oh, there it is. I'm gonna use a razor blade. And we're gonna just kind of thoroughly scrape it. Sometimes there's a lot of things that cake up on these edges. I can tell somebody's done a really good job of cleaning this truck here based on its age. This is a quick step, usually. You could have more stuff on it, more trash. You may want to spend more time scraping, but this one I'm gonna get lucky on. And just thoroughly scrape it. Okay, now I'm gonna take my towel here, microfiber. I'm just gonna clean it real good. Make sure I get all the contamination, oils, everything that could, cause problems in the future. I always do this on a lot of glass. I've always taken a hard card, and I'm just always jamming them in the cracks, just making sure I get everything I need to get. And at this point, I'm happy. Okay, the next step, we're gonna fit the pattern. Okay, on this step, what we're gonna do is we're gonna fine tune the pattern. And I'm gonna get the pattern to stick to the glass with some water because I'm gonna leave the release liner on. I haven't tried this yet, but we're gonna try to see how well it fits, because I know it's not gonna be perfect. We knew it was gonna be a little bit large, if anything. And it is. It's okay, it's close. I'm actually happy with it in a lot of ways, but I'm still researching it a little bit. Okay. All right, what I'm gonna do here, I could leave a shaved edge here, but I'm just gonna leave a micro gap. It looks like it's gonna work best for our video and save a little bit of time, because I could kind of come back and shave this at the end, but man, I've got a beautiful looking little micro gap I'm gonna be happy with. But I've got the pattern fitted right now where it's perfect right there in the corner, but it's slightly larger in most of these areas, which I can manage with my knife with the one-click method. But that's what I'm literally gonna do, is anchor this pattern here, and then I'm gonna actually use the one-click method to trim it on the inside again. I'm not gonna, I gotta get this just perfect. I just don't have any room for error. So I'm actually gonna, okay. Now I'm gonna use a hard card that doesn't scratch, because I'm gonna try to anchor the film because I really don't need it to move, which is, I'm gonna use this tri-edge here. I could have used any one of my tri-edge cards. The key step here is to anchor that film. I don't want it to move. And I'm gonna use a really sharp offal blade, because I'm gonna break it so that I have a really super sharp point. And then I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna trim it from the inside. I'm gonna use my one-click method, where I just barely click it as I push the pressure on the film, then I click it out, and then I'm gonna drag it across. So I'm gonna come to the inside, I'm gonna click it, and I'm gonna drag it to fine tune the cut right up against that seal. I'm very happy with that. It's gonna be the most tricky for me over here in the cracks here, in the curve, excuse me, which I'm gonna be very careful, very slow. I'm not gonna put a lot of pressure on it. Just gonna work my way all the way to the top. Done. I have one little piece of tin in the corner. Okay. I'm gonna open the door here to try to get a better angle. I think you might even be able to see me better. But I'm gonna have to come over here and do a little cut. Get that corner just like I want it. Okay, there we go. And a small adjustment at the top. I can do that on the board. And now this pattern is perfect and ready to install. Okay, now this is basically the last step. I'm gonna actually do a final squeegee. I'm using my Tint tack solution. I'm gonna use a microfiber. And of course my yellow turbo squeegee. I don't know how you like to squeegee, but this, as long as you squeegee everything thoroughly, make sure there's no contamination on the glass. I work things down, do little strokes here. Take my time. As I'm coming to a point where I don't see anything I can squeegee anymore, I like to dry my edges with a lint-free microfiber. I like to dry the edges where the water can pool up, because that's where the trash is going to come from if you're not careful. And I mean, my window right now, I'm happy with it. I'm ready for installation. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to wet the glass. That's probably going to give too much water for me to have to manage the sides that might bring in the trash. I'm just going to wet the film as I peel it and put the film on and then squeegee it out. And I have a technique of how I squeegee, and we'll go over that. It's happening right now. Over here, I'm going to spray the release liner. I'm going to pull my pattern off. What the heck? Well, I better spray it again. I don't want any static to cause any trouble here. I'm gonna pull my release liner. I'm gonna spray my adhesive. And now I'm gonna just carefully come over here and put the pattern on the glass without any water on the glass. I don't do this often, but on some instances I do. I have plenty of water on the pattern itself. And then I come over here, I move the pattern around and work it where it lays down flat. Okay, this looks beautiful. I'm gonna very carefully wet this. I need a little lubrication for my squeegeeing process. I could use this yellow turbo. Sometimes I like use this little one. I'm probably gonna use the little one and then I'm gonna squeegee all the water out, and what pools at the bottom, I'm gonna try to, get rid of it with my microfiber or something to absorb it. And I'm gonna be really careful with my squeegeeing. I'm not trying to hammer this down really hard. I just wanna get it down, and I wanna get the water out really fast so that it doesn't bring trash back up into the installation. If I wanted a really super perfect job, I'd take this piece of glass out, no question. It's not that hard to do. Just remember, this video is just to show you how to tint it inside, without taking it out and having to get a good job without any light gaps or any trash. And I'm not gonna say this is perfect, but I don't know anybody that would not be happy with this job under these circumstances. I'm not gonna lock everything down, but at the moment, but that's how you do it. I'm gonna spend some time cleaning the outside of the glass, and we're gonna do some close-ups and let you see what the window looks like, in detail. And this is how I recommend to tint a quarter glass, or a vent window, I guess you would call it, in a classic truck.